Hey, good morning. Here in Oklahoma, we're in a situation right now that is semi-dire. We've had triple digits that are setting records. So it's hot. We haven't had any rain. Creeks and ponds are going dry. I'm actually standing in the creek right now. This is what it normally looks like. So it's one of those times where if you have livestock, you really have to pay attention to your water. It's a priority, which leads me to what we're doing. Right now, I'm working on a different setup for a water tub because of some issues that I'm having with them, with the livestock. So if you've got livestock, you're gonna have water. And if you're using some type of water tub, you're gonna have some of these issues that I'm trying to correct right now, or at least I'm trying to come up with some ideas to correct them. So you might want to stay tuned. It might help you, and we'll learn something together. So let's get to work. Got the cows checked. They're dropping babies like crazy. Both sets of goats are doing fine. Got the dogs fed. And so now we're down here finishing up a job that we've been doing. And I haven't been videoing it. I guess I should have. But it's kind of semi-boring stuff. However, what I'm trying to figure out is this 3/4 inch line. This is the first time I've ever used PEX. The situation that we have here on this place, and a lot of people have, is they want to know what size water they need for the amount of animals they have. You know, and it's a function of recovery, how fast the water flows in, and size. So we can get away with an 8-foot tub with our cow herd, but that's because we have got a 2-inch poly water line. You can barely see the white right there, but our poly line comes to right here, and then we have a transition that goes to a PVC pipe, and so it's 2-inch all the way over to the tub, which this is where we had our old tub before the flood. There's the 2-inch riser coming up. It came into the bottom of the tub. And then there's a float in the tub that would run the water in and then shut off when the tub got full. So we could get away with an 8-foot tub, and it worked fine. And that is with a 3/4 inch float. And these are MegaFlow Job floats. And the inlet size down there, diameter, is 3/4 inches. So I wanted to see if we could utilize 3/4 inch PEX, and I wanted to see how long of line we could utilize. So I was having to redo this tub, and I'm going to end up having to move it because you can kind of see how it's just wallered out from the cattle. This old bottom land is kind of clay and kind of stays wet. The cattle will come in here, and if it rains while they're drinking, they'll just continue to waller this out. And it's real easy to see if you kind of get down here at ground level and take a look around. You can see it is the low spot. Well, it wasn't like that when we put it in. So over the years, they've wallered it out. So I need to move it. So it's just gonna make it a lot simpler if we can utilize PEX to kind of move it. It's so easy to work with, and this is the first time I've done it, but man, that stuff goes in easy. So I'm running some tests here to see about how long maybe a line I can get away with. Worst case scenario is you still keep your same diameter size on your line almost to the tub, and then you convert the PEX right there and go up and under. And I know it'll do, you know, 10 foot, no problem. But this is actually 60 feet. So when the cattle get in here, I'll want to really monitor this, because I'm going to fence all the other water off and force them to drink this. And so we'll see how that performs. But, you know, it's all about recovery. And that's why I want to check the 3/4. We're necking it down, and I just want to make sure we're still getting X amount of gallons per minute. And I can't tell you what that is. I can just tell you how it functions with the cow herd when it's 100+ degrees, which is what it's going to be. Once I get that determined, then I'll know if I can make it a little bit longer or not. Now, one thing I learned about the PEX that I didn't know, we've always used polyethylene pipe, which is, I mean, tough. You can leave it out on the ground, you can bury it, it doesn't matter, and it's tough. Well, they told me this PEX, they said that you can leave it out on the ground like this, but if it's exposed to the sun, it'll just last about 4 years. That's from where I got it, and I didn't get it at a Home Depot or Lowe's. I got it at a specific store that kind of deals with it a lot. So I would think they would know, but if that's not correct, someone make a comment, because I'm trying to learn on this PEX stuff too. What I'm trying to talk about is recovery and water size. And when I get done testing this, we'll get an idea of animal units on an 8-foot tub, and, you know, running for how far on a 3/4 inch line, and we'll see what that does and see if it keeps up. Judging from how the water was going in when I first turned it on, it's probably going to keep up. It's going to be close. But what happens is, if it doesn't keep up, and that's with a 2-inch too, if it doesn't keep up with your animals and it's hot, your animals will get to where they're pushing around on your tub, and then it creates issues. So we're checking on this first. We'll find out how that's going to run, and then that'll kind of determine where we set our tub and how we set our tub. So I'll keep you posted on that. I'll know in probably a week or so. Hopefully I can stall this video and include it in this video so you'll know immediately. So I've got her rigged, hopefully where the cows won't tear anything up. That's what my biggest concern is. I don't want them to get to those fittings under there. I don't know if you can see those or not, but I've got a union under there for a quick connect. This is a tub that I move around a lot. It's been in the pens and various things like that, so it doesn't have any holes in it. That's how I'm protecting it. Then I jerry-rigged the spout over here where they couldn't get to it and tear it up. Okay, so we'll see how that works, and I will keep y'all posted. Hey, good morning. So I'm down here to kind of do an update on the water tub with respect to if that 3/4 inch PEX line would keep up with the cow herd. And this pasture, I kind of have to go back and clean it multiple days. It's just so brushy, and it's a fairly large size pasture, and you can see the dust. So I don't know if cattle have come back to drink. I'm not down to the tub yet. Hopefully the tub is able to keep up, because I see a lot of benefit in being able to use that 3/4 inch PEX. It is really easy to manipulate and to deal with versus poly, or even PVC. PVC just does not last like poly will. I can see very few cows in here. I came down during the heat yesterday to see if they were sucking it down, and they were not. You can tell from the tall grass that the tub has not been moved. This is just a temporary thing. I'm just kind of doing some tests, and this is a 60-foot, approximately 60 foot of line. I'll run over here real quick and show you why I'm trying to figure this out, and then we'll come back over here and look at this some more. Okay, this is an example of one of our biggest issues. And our soil in these bottoms is black clay. It's pretty good for grass and things like that, but when it gets wet, it gets really boggy. And so what happens on these water tubs is you get your water tub set, and then if a rain hits while the herd is in here, and they come up and start drinking around the water tub and drinking around the water tub and drinking around the water tub, and they create an indention. Well, then the next time the rain hits and they're in here, guess what? The indention gets worse. And it doesn't take any time at all, depending on how much rain they get while they're in here, and or if a tub, you can't get it shut off, or it's trickling over and you miss it for a while, it creates this. And this is a dangerous, if you've watched Pixel's catastrophic situation, it's one of those things that cattle will still try to get in there to stand, to cool off. It's boggy. Last time they were in here, I had a cow and a yearling that walked out there, and they've got water in other spots, but you know, they kind of get into a habit and they wanted to get in the water. They walked out there and the cow was bogged up almost over her back. There was probably, and it was a full-size cow, there was probably a, I don't know, foot and a half of her back sticking out. And so luckily I caught it, you know, probably same day or better, and was able to drag her out and get her loose. And I thought she's going to hit my pickup, but you know, because I had a chain on her, and I mean, as soon as I got her out, she jumped right up, which normally they don't. But she hopped right up, which was great. But then all of a sudden you got a cow hooked to a chain, hooked to your truck. That's usually why you see a lot of these ranchers with quarter panels dented in, because for some reason a cow hit them while they were feeding, or a bull hit them while they were out in the pasture or something like that. But I was able to get her and the yearling both out, so that was a good thing. I cannot shut the stupid tub off. The shutoff valves have been in there for around 20 years, and they're brass valves and all that, but you know, they only work and last so long, and you just can't get it shut all the way off. So what you got to do is you got to shut the main line off, which means all the tubs in this section of the ranch are going to be off. Well, that's difficult to do. I'll have to dig this valve out and replace it, or connect another shutoff in line after the valve so I can turn this tub off. So this was my solution. I have a couple of solar chargers that I use for stuff like this, and a solar charger works really well on a short run. This run just goes around this tub, and it prevents anything from getting in there. So this is what it is. It's a Patriot Solar Guard 155. 9600 volts. So it works real well. I just ground to the T-post. When I set this T-post in, I had a water bottle that I had emptied, and so I cut the top off and just dipped a bunch of water several times out of here and just poured it down where I drove that T-post to kind of help with my grounds. Quick and easy to set up for a temporary solution. Now remember, these solar chargers are not a lot of fence, lot of wire to drive solution. I would not recommend those. Now back to this tub. You can see by how it's beat out, like I was talking about the issues we have here. If there would be a rain, you could see how they would just immediately waller that out. All right, I'd say it's working well. As far as I'm concerned, that's a win. So that's just going to give us a lot of options with that PEX line. It's just, like I say, it's a lot easier to handle. So now we know that 60 foot of 3/4 inch PEX line, neck down to that from a 2-inch, will service, you know, our cow herd, which is the main thing that I wanted to know. Every place is going to be a little different. It's one of those things where you just kind of have to set you something up, observe it, and then adjust if you need to. This is a temporary setup, and it worked fine. So maybe you can try it. Now that I know how much water it will handle, and with respect to the 3/4 inch line, which is enough for my herd, my plan on this tub is to prevent that wallering out that I showed you over there and at another tub. To prevent that, my solution that I'm going to try is an extended line like you saw here, the 60-foot line, or a little shorter. And I'm going to move the tub. I'm going to slide it right or left around a circle. So I will be able to control how much bogging they're going to do here. If it starts raining and they start bogging this out, then I'll move the tub about 10 feet that way, maybe a little more, whatever it calls for. I will observe and adjust. And then I'll go all the way around this thing slowly, if I have to. You know, it's one of those things that you just kind of watch it and you adjust. At least that's what I'm hoping. This is all flexible. I'm just trying to solve a problem here without spending lots of money bringing gravel in and dozers and you know, telephone poles and things like that to hold the gravel in. You've maybe seen some people that do that. That takes a lot of money and a lot of work. Work is money. So I'm trying to do this a little bit different to see if I can't utilize that. So that is the plan, and we'll see how it works. We'll monitor it. I'm sure it's going to take several years to kind of get an idea how it's going to work. But the other system, just letting the cattle determine how bad they're going to bog it, is not working. So that's the reason I'm doing this, and hopefully that will help somebody else eventually. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.